And as a matter of fact, as you start doing this business, as you start doing our traditional land flipping business, when you have a lot, 50% of the people, if that lot is outside of the town, like a half an hour outside, 50% of all inquiries are going to ask you the following question. Can I put the mobile home on there? All right, hello everyone. In the first niche we want to talk about is mobile home lots. First of all, let's talk about why mobile home lots. Well, mobile home lots, very simply, are very much in demand because we have an unfortunate situation in this country, which is that about 70% of all Americans over the age of 50 don't have enough money saved up to retire. Like the average American Social Security is $1,600. The average rent in a major metropolitan city is also $1,600. So if you are a single person in retirement, if you're married and both of you work full time, you spend one person's Social Security on rent and the other Social Security you have to survive. Okay, you can't survive. If your spouse passed away or something like that, or if you just have one income because you're divorced and never married or something like that, and you're getting $1,600 in Social Security, good luck surviving in this world. And I mean it with compassion. I don't mean that in a mean word. It's actually a very sad statistic. And the reality is that, so what happens is there's millions of Americans that are in their 50s and 60s and they start realizing that they either can never retire, or in order to retire, they got to go into a more low-cost living style. And guess what? Mobile homes is the answer. So what they're looking for is they're moving, first of all, where's the cost of living lower? In the city or outside the city, in a more rural area? It's in a more rural area. So basically what they're doing is they're looking for land, a half an hour, 45 minutes, an hour outside of town that they can move to, or close to a smaller town or something like that, where cost of living is lower, like where they want to buy, where they can buy a piece of land, perhaps paid off over the next 10 years. So there's self-financing, which is what we're going to talk about tomorrow, which is a great strategy to blow up your business and really do it in a cost-neutral way. And so that's our subject. That's our gift for tomorrow. How we created $12 million in land notes, and how you can do the same thing, and how you can actually use one deal to finance the next deal and basically build this up without actually investing a whole bunch of your own money into that. So, but today's is about the niches, and again, mobile home lots are absolutely attractive to that kind of a buyer. So the buyer that basically wants to retire, doesn't have a whole lot of money, can't buy a $200,000 lot, can't build a $500,000 house on it, can't do those kind of things. They need a low-cost retirement. And a low-cost retirement is an acre lot or half an acre, an hour away from a big city or closer to a small town, and with still amenities close by, that way they can get a used mobile home. And in some states, there's mobile homes out there that you can buy for $5,000 or for 10 grand, and then basically put that mobile home on there and have a dignified retirement. All right. So with that said, let me quickly share with you how you go about finding some of those. Now, here's the thing. You can go to data services and actually look for zoning. And if they give you the records, that's that's version number one, or possibility number one. If you have access to a good data service and they give you access to the use code or the zoning, because typically a parcel has two characteristics. One, it's zoned for something. So it's zoned single family residential. But then there's also a use code, and that use code sometimes is finer. Within single-family residential, there's some subcategories, and some of them in some states is mobile homes. So it is allowed that it allows mobile homes. So you can look at it that way, or you can literally go look around the country, go into follow the main roads, on Google Maps, follow the main road, find some developments, zoom into those, see if there's mobile homes as you see out there. You can do the same thing like outside of major metropolitan areas. You go in a big city, you follow like the big streets outside with aerial views, you see where you are, and then you click on some of that, you find out what the subdivision is called, and then you go out, you go to a data source, you pull those records, and now we are entering actually our traditional land profits method, guys. And as a matter of fact, as you start doing this business, as you start doing our traditional land flipping business, when you have a lot, 50% of the people, if that lot is outside of the town, like a half an hour outside, 50% of all inquiries are going to ask you the following question. Can I put the mobile home on there? So right there, that tells you that there's humongous demand for mobile home lots. So why not turn that entire process around and go find areas where mobile homes are allowed and then target them directly. All right, so with that said, let's go into the next kind of thing. Rural lakefront property. Guys, just think about that. Who doesn't want to have a lakefront lot? Let me ask you, who would love to have a lakefront lot? Lakefront property. It sounds like $1 million, right? It sounds like when you think in your mind, lakefront property, $1 million. But did you know that there's thousands of rural lakes in the United States? And many of them have around them some developments. You got to be careful with those. Right? Let's make sure we not just give you like the beauty of it, but also want to give you some words of caution here. That's why you got to work with the right guidance and the right kind of thing here, which is you got to be careful from the point of view that some of these areas have subdivision, not subdivision. They're subdivisions and they have HOAs. So here's the thing, in the current market that we're in the best land market that we have ever seen. However, in the land market is changing. It's changing every year. Every year it's different. So this year and next year probably, the properties below a certain price level are not selling very well. So if you talk to anyone, if you're interested in getting into one's coaching program or things like that, ask them about what price levels they focus on. Because the reality is anything under like 20 grand does just not do very well in this market right now. So here's the thing. If you go into a lakefront community, there's front row, lakefront. There's second row, third row, fourth row. Stay away from third and fourth row and even be careful with second row. Focus on lakefront units. Lakefront units are what sells because who doesn't want to have a lakefront property? But a property 5 roads away from the lake is no longer a lakefront property. But in some cases, these HOA fees, these areas have HOA fees of $2,500 a year. Plus property taxes of $1,000 a year. You're paying $3,500, or the owner is paying $3,500 a year just to hold on to the property. And the properties 5 lots away from the lake, or 5 roads away from the lake, are just not worth that. But the lakefront ones are. So even in neighborhoods with high property taxes, you can still make money with HOA fees. You can still make tons of money, but focus on the best of the best in this particular niche. So the key is like, it's location, location, location on a micro level. Like in this kind of stuff, if you want to be on a lake, be on the freaking lake. You come across plenty of areas where everyone wants to throw their land at you, but this is the land 5 levels away from the lake. And they're like, yeah, you can have it for $100 and don't fall for it. Ignore those. Only go for the lakefront lots. The lakefront lots will give you absolutely the best bang for the buck. What about flood zones? Well, flood zones is something you do research on while you do have the property under due diligence. But usually the lake is not here and the land is here. Usually this goes uphill a little bit. These lakes are lakes because there's a shore. So if you're lakefront, you're probably 50 feet away from the lake and you're like 15 feet higher than the lake or 20 feet, 30 feet higher than the lake, it's not an issue whatsoever. But this is just something that you need to look into. What I want to talk to you right now for a second before we go summarize this all is a concept called a field of predictability. So here's the thing. Here's what a lot of people do. A lot of people do the following. So that you have a goal over here. And what you do is you push in the goal, let's say it's like, I don't know, 100 grand a year, 200 grand a year, 500 grand a year, whatever that is. And right now you're like, crap, I need to make more money. So you go and you push towards the directions. You're making 5 grand a month. Then you're doing 1 deal, you're doing 2 deals, you're doing 3 deals, and you're doing more and more and more. And soon enough, you hit that goal. But what happens is when you hit that goal, you often end up self-sabotaging, or on the way to that goal, you end up self-sabotaging because you haven't absorbed and internalized your new identity of a successful land investor, right? You haven't identified it. Does that sound familiar to anyone? Have you ever self-sabotaged on something? You were on the way to success and then you basically it all came tumbling down. Even though you know how to do it, you didn't do it all the way to the end. You just, for some reason, stopped before the end of the goal. Or you hit the goal, but then you retracted, you actually went backwards. And then you hit the goal again, you went backwards. And you hit the goal and you went backwards. Like, if this is what your life looks like, if this is what your life has been looking like, is that because you're in the field of predictability. You need to get out of the field of predictability and you need to go into the field of possibility. Right? It's in the field of possibility. And the way you do that is by literally getting yourself into an environment that changes who you are and it changes your relationship with money. Your relationship with money needs to be changed, guys. Because here's the thing. There's people out there, and I'm sure some of you are going to be that, probably in there if you really admit it, that you're still talking about this one success you've had in the 90s or in the early 2000s or in the mid 2000s. But the thing is, those days are over. You know, this doesn't matter what happened in the past. You need to do what's happening today. And if you look at it, how truly is your relationship with money? For most people, if your relationship with money would be a Facebook status, it would be, it's complicated. Like your relationship status is either I'm engaged, I'm married, I'm in a relationship, or it's complicated. Like, who agrees that, like, for money, for most people, it's complicated. Now, here's the thing. If you're not fully committed to focusing on what you want to do, and you're in the it's complicated status, it's complicated means you're not fully committed, you're not fully out, you're not fully in, what's the universe going to do? Is the universe going to throw money at you? Is the universe going to help you be successful right away? No, the universe is going to be like, well, if you're complicated, I'm not going to give you anything until you're clear. So the thing is, you got to be clear about your money. Like, I always carry at least $500-600 with me. Right now, here's my wallet. How do we have? $100, $200, $300, $400, $500, $600, $610 is what I have here. And in case you doubt it, there's the $100 bills here. $610. Why do I always carry $500-600? Because I want to trust myself with money. The answer is I want to have my daughter to walk around with money in her pocket. It's my money, but still, I want her to be used to trusting herself with money. Because if you don't trust yourself with money, it's like, oh, I'm not carrying money because I might lose it. How in the world are you going to trust yourself with success in business if you can't trust yourself with some money in your pocket? You got to get used to having money in your pocket. You got to get used to living an abundant life. You got to be used to living in the field of possibilities, guys. Right? You got to be used to like walking into a 5-star resort and saying like, hey, this is what I deserve. This is what I need. This is what I want. This is who is me. Right? Instead of being it complicated, because the universe and your inner voice is always listening. So if you find yourself self-sabotaging, if you find yourself retracting from your goal and it goes like this, like you hit the goal or you get close to the goal and then you fall back, work on your money standards. Work on your relationship with money. Because the thing is like, I know, and here's one thing about the relationship with money. That is that if you value time more than money, money will never come. You need to value time. If you want to say that, if you value time less than money, if you basically say, oh, I'd rather spend my time on something than my money, you will never be able to succeed. If you always say, let me say it again, if you basically say, I'd rather spend my time than my money, then what you're saying is I value my time not at all. I only value my money. You're holding on to the money that you have, but you're not holding on to the time that you have. You're spending your time leisurely on all kinds of stuff, on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok, on X, on Netflix, on all kinds of stuff. But the reality is your time is your most precious asset. Your time is your most valuable thing that you have. Your time, like if you look at the guys like the richest people in the world, you know what Warren Buffett? Warren Buffett is worth $150 billion. You know how his calendar looks like every day? It's empty. It's empty. right? It's empty. He has time for everything. Why? Because he invests his money into the right team that runs his business, so he doesn't have to spend the time doing everything himself. So in life, what you want to do, take that as an extra Christmas gift from myself and from Michelle. Like from us, Michelle and I. This is, in life, what you want to do is you want to leverage systems, processes, other people's knowledge, and help to the absolute maximum possible so that you own your time.